on my fireplace. You know I like, when I read the book of Genesis, I like to read it to a crackling fire. Well, that's nice. You guys want to see? You guys probably want to see. Imagine if you could be reading, if you had a nice fire like this, you too would probably want to be reading from the book of Genesis. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. Tonight we are reading chapters 39 and chapters 40 from, again, the book of Genesis. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how long these ones are. Well, they're pretty short ones tonight. I talked about it this morning on my coffee show that Joseph, who I really only know from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It was a Broadway musical. They also did one in Chicago. I think Donny Osmond might have starred in it actually. But anyway, there was Joseph was introduced to us, I think, in last night's reading. And last I'd heard he'd been sold into slavery in Egypt. And I was wondering if his story was done, because he was had a very brief role in the last couple chapters. Again, his brothers sold him to, I don't know, people in Egypt or whatever. But it looks like he's going to be coming back, so I must say I feel a little better about that. I was a little worried about Joseph. Plus, I wanted to know more about his colorful robe. So anyway, without further ado, chapter 39, Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, had bought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. From the time that he made him overseer in his house and all over that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The blessing of the Lord was on all that he had, in the house and the field. So he left all that he had in Joseph's charge, and because of him, he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance, and after a time his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Behold, because of me, my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he has put everything that he has in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept back anything from me except you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" And as she spoke to Joseph day after day, he would not listen to her, to lie beside her or be with her. But one day, when he went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house were there in the house, she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand and fled and got out of the house. And as soon as she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and had fled out of the house, she called to the men of her household and said to them, "See, he has brought among us a Hebrew to laugh at us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And as soon as he heard that, I lifted up my voice and cried out. He left his garment beside me and fled and got out of the house." Then she laid up his garment by her until his master came home. And she told him the same story, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you have brought among us, came into me to laugh at me. But as soon as I lifted up my voice and cried, he left his garment beside me and fled out of the house. As soon as his master heard the words that his wife spoke to him, "This is the way your servant treated me," his anger was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. And he was there in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him. And whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed. Chapter 40. Joseph interprets two prisoners' dreams. Sometime after this, the cupbearer of the king of Egypt and his baker committed an offense against their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard appointed Joseph to be with them, and he attended them. They continued for some time in custody. And one night they both dreamed, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, each his own dream, and each dream with its own interpretation. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they were troubled. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in custody in his master's house, "Why are your faces downcast today?" They said to him, "We have had dreams, and there is no one to interpret them." And Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Please tell them to me." So the chief cupbearer told his dream to Joseph and said to him, "In my dreams there was a vine before me, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, its blossoms shot forth, and the clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand." Then Joseph said to him, "This is its interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your office, and you shall place Pharaoh's cup in the hand as formerly, when you were the cupbearer. Only remember me when it is well with you, and please do me the kindness to mention me to Pharaoh, and to get me out of this house. For I was indeed stolen out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also I have done nothing that they should put me into the pit." When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was favorable, he said to Joseph, "I also had a dream. There were 3 cake baskets on my head, and in the uppermost baskets there were all sorts of baked foods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating it out of the basket on my head." And Joseph answered and said, "This is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat the flesh from you." On the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all his servants, and lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the head of the chief baker among his servants. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. Well, that was chapter 39 and 40. I actually found tonight's reading much easier. It was written in more story form and a lot simpler for me to read and kind of comprehend. I have no idea why the Pharaoh chose to hang the baker and let the cupbearer go. I'm hoping for some more explanation or what have you, but it leaves you wondering. So anyway, I want to thank you again for joining me tonight. I read 2 chapters every day from the Bible. I've read the first 40 chapters now at Genesis. It feels kind of good. I'm actually kind of proud of that. I remember when I started, the reading was difficult and has been from time to time. But now 40 chapters in, I feel I've got a little bit of momentum going, and we're getting close to the end of Genesis, and then we'll be on to Exodus. And hopefully I can keep going and read the entire Bible. I don't know how long it'll take. It could take a year and a half. But as I said before, I'll say it again. How do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. And that's what I'm doing here today right now by reading a couple chapters a day. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had a great day. You had a wonderful week. You are feeling good. You are loving yourself. You are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.